If you ate bread this morning, you probably consumed at least two of the five ingredients we're about to cover. Ingredients that are banned in Europe, banned in China, banned in over 40 countries around the world, but still perfectly legal in the United States. Today I'm exposing the five toxic ingredients hiding in your bread, which major brands still use them, what the science says about the health risks, and why the FDA has done almost nothing about it. And stick around until the end because I'll also reveal the brands that are actually clean so you know exactly what to buy instead. Let's get into it. 5. Enriched bleached flour. You pick up a loaf of bread at the store, flip it over, and the very first ingredient reads, enriched bleached flour. Sounds harmless, right? It's just flour. But that single ingredient has been through a chemical process that would probably surprise you. Here's what happens. Manufacturers take whole wheat, strip away the bran and the germ, which removes over 20 naturally occurring nutrients, including vitamin E, vitamin A, B vitamins, fiber, and essential fatty acids. What you're left with is basically starch. Then they bleach it using chemicals like benzoyl peroxide, chlorine gas or chlorine dioxide to turn it white and artificially age it. Natural flour aging takes 1 to 2 months. Chemical bleaching takes seconds. It's faster and cheaper, and the end result looks identical to the consumer. And here's where it gets interesting. Benzoyl peroxide, the most common bleaching agent, is the exact same active ingredient in acne medication. The stuff your dermatologist prescribes for your teenager's skin is being used to bleach the flour in your family's sandwich bread. Same chemical, different application. A 2025 review published in Food, Nutrition, and Health by Springer found that flour bleaching agents degrade nutrients, generate carcinogenic free radicals, and leave residues linked to liver damage and chronic inflammation. Studies on mice showed that benzoyl peroxide significantly decreased antioxidant enzyme activity in the liver and increased markers of oxidative stress, which is a precursor to cell damage and disease. Earlier research found that benzoyl peroxide causes DNA strand breaks in human blood cells in laboratory settings. And long-term consumption has been associated with vitamin deficiency, inflammation of the cornea, nerve damage, and in severe cases, cumulative harm to the central nervous system and liver. After all that processing, they add back a grand total of 5 synthetic nutrients and call it enriched. 20 nutrients removed, 5 added back, and somehow that qualifies as enriched. It's like robbing someone of everything they own, handing them back a $5 bill and saying they've been compensated. And the nutrients they add back aren't even in their natural form. They're synthetic versions that your body processes differently than the naturally occurring vitamins that were stripped away. The fiber is gone entirely. The essential fatty acids are gone. The vitamin E that protects your cells from oxidative damage, gone. You're left with a nutritionally hollow product that spikes your blood sugar almost as fast as table sugar because there's nothing left to slow the absorption. Then they stamp enriched on the label and people assume they're getting something nutritious. The European Union bans chlorine bleaching, peroxide bleaching, and bromate flour treatment entirely. The United Kingdom bans peroxide bleaching. China banned benzoyl peroxide in wheat flour back in 2011. Turkey bans it. But in America, enriched bleached flour is the primary ingredient in some of the most popular bread brands on the shelf. Wonder Classic white bread, Sunbeam Giant White, Great Value white bread at Walmart, Mrs. Baird's Sandwich White. All of them build their products on enriched flour as a foundational ingredient. Even fast food chains have used enriched bleached flour as the first ingredient in their buns for decades. Meanwhile, brands like King Arthur flour have never bleached or bromated their flour. Not once in their history. It's not that alternatives don't exist, it's that the cheaper, faster chemical process saves manufacturers a few cents per loaf, and the FDA has no problem with it. But enriched bleached flour is only the beginning, because the next ingredient on this list is in almost every single loaf of bread at your grocery store. And it exploits a loophole that the FDA accidentally created when they tried to ban trans fats. 4. Mono and diglycerides in 2023, the FDA finalized its ban on partially hydrogenated oils, the primary source of artificial trans fats in the American diet. Health organizations celebrated. Headlines declared victory. Trans fats, which had been linked to hundreds of thousands of heart disease deaths over the decades, were finally done. Except they weren't. Not even close. There's a class of ingredients called mono and diglycerides that are in virtually every commercial loaf of bread sold in the United States. They're emulsifiers, meaning they stop oil and water from separating, they improve bread texture, and they extend shelf life. They account for roughly 70% of all emulsifiers used in the American food industry. And they're hiding something. Here's the problem. Mono and diglycerides are manufactured from the same partially hydrogenated oils that produce trans fats. The European Food Safety Authority acknowledged in 2017 that mono and diglycerides produced through glycerolysis of hydrogenated fats contain significant amounts of trans fatty acids. But because the FDA classifies mono and diglycerides as emulsifiers and not dietary fats, they don't count toward the trans fat line on your nutrition label. A product can be labeled 0 grams trans fat and still contain trans fats through mono and diglycerides. It's a labeling loophole, plain and simple. The trans fat ban that was celebrated in headlines around the world, your bread found a workaround. And the FDA either doesn't know or doesn't care. The health consequences of trans fat consumption are well documented and serious. Increased LDL cholesterol, which is the bad kind. Decreased HDL cholesterol, which is the good kind. Elevated risk of coronary heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, chronic inflammation, insulin resistance, and even cognitive decline. A major study published in the British Medical Journal linked food additive emulsifiers specifically to increase cardiovascular disease risk in a large cohort of French adults followed over multiple years. Now, which brands contain mono and diglycerides? Honestly, the easier question would be which brands don't. Wonder Bread, Sara Lee Honey Wheat, Pepperidge Farm, Arnold, Martin's Famous Potato Rolls, Great Value, Mrs. Baird's, Sunbeam, Stroman, Nature's Own Honey Wheat, and Thomas's English Muffins. Every single one of them lists some form of mono or diglycerides in their ingredient panels. The two notable exceptions are Dave's Killer Bread and Ezekiel 4:9. Neither one uses mono or diglycerides in any of their products. Zero. Which tells you something important. If two of the most successful bread brands in America can make great bread without this ingredient, every other brand on that shelf could too. They just choose not to. And here's what makes this even more concerning. Many of these brands are owned by the same two mega corporations. Bimbo Bakeries USA, a subsidiary of Mexico's Grupo Bimbo, the largest bakery company on earth, owns Sara Lee, Arnold, Stroman, Mrs. Baird's, Thomas's English Muffins, Ballpark Buns, and Entenmann's. Flowers Foods owns Wonder Bread, Nature's Own, Sunbeam, and ironically Dave's Killer Bread, which they purchased but allowed to maintain its independent organic formulation. Same parent companies, different standards for different brands. The cheaper ingredients go into the cheaper bread that the average family is buying every single week. But the next ingredient takes things to a different level entirely. Because the United States government's own agency has publicly stated this one is a likely carcinogen, and somehow the FDA still allows it in food. 3. BHA, butylated hydroxyanisole. BHA, or butylated hydroxyanisole, is a synthetic antioxidant derived from petroleum. It's been used since 1947 to prevent fats and oils from going rancid. You'll find it in cereals, baked goods, snack foods, chewing gum, butter, and processed meats. Its purpose is simple. It extends shelf life by slowing oxidation. It keeps products from tasting stale. Now here's where the story gets genuinely uncomfortable for the FDA. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, which is part of the World Health Organization, classified BHA as a Group 2B carcinogen back in 1986, meaning it's possibly carcinogenic to humans. That's concerning enough on its own. But it gets worse. The United States National Toxicology Program, which is a federal government agency, has listed BHA as reasonably anticipated to be a human carcinogen every single year since 1991. That designation was most recently reaffirmed in the 14th edition of their report on carcinogens in 2016. Read that again. The government's own toxicology agency says this ingredient is reasonably anticipated to cause cancer. And yet the FDA, another government agency, says it's safe to eat. The two agencies within the same government can't agree on whether it causes cancer, and your family's eating it while they figure it out. Animal studies published in the Japanese Journal of Cancer Research documented 4 stomach tumors, papillomas, and squamous cell carcinomas in rats, hamsters, and mice exposed to BHA. Additional research found that BHA caused liver cancer in fish. California's Proposition 65 lists BHA as a known carcinogen. The European Union categorizes it as a Category 1 endocrine-disrupting chemical, meaning it actively interferes with your hormone system at a fundamental level. And the FDA still classifies BHA as generally recognized as safe, GRAS. That's the official designation for an ingredient that the government's own cancer researchers say is reasonably anticipated to cause cancer. You can't make this up. The United Kingdom bans BHA in infant food. Japan restricts its use. Multiple European countries have placed severe limitations. New York has proposed legislation to ban it outright. And across the country, something remarkable is happening. As of 2025, over 140 bills across 38 states have been introduced targeting food additives like BHA. At least 17 of those bills have been enacted into law. Conservative states like West Virginia and liberal states like California are both passing bans. It's one of the few genuinely bipartisan food safety movements this country has seen in decades. BHA appears in various processed foods that contain fats and oils, including packaged baked goods and snack products. But here's the part that really catches people off guard. BHA is also used in food packaging materials, including the wax paper liners inside cereal boxes and the wrapping around baked goods, where it can migrate into the food itself, even when it doesn't appear on the ingredient label. You could be consuming BHA without it being listed on a single product you buy. But even with all of that, the next ingredient might be the one that shocks you the most. Because this one isn't just in your bread, it's in your yoga mat. 2-azotocarbonamide, ADA, azotocarbonamide. It's a mouthful, so the food industry just calls it ADA. It's a synthetic chemical compound, an orange-red crystalline powder that bread manufacturers use as a flour bleaching agent and dough conditioner. It makes bread whiter and fluffier and gives it that soft, pillowy texture that consumers have come to expect from store-bought bread. But here's what the food industry doesn't put on the package. ADA is also the primary chemical blowing agent used to manufacture yoga mats, shoe soles, and foam rubber. The exact same compound that gives your running shoes their springy cushion is giving your sandwich bread its soft texture. Same factory chemical, 2 very different products. When ADA is baked into bread, it breaks down into 2 byproducts. The first is semicarbazide, which has been shown to cause lung and blood vessel cancers in mice. The second is urethane, which the International Agency for Research on Cancer has classified as probably carcinogenic to humans, a step above possibly. A 2022 study confirmed that ADA reacts with wet flour during heat processing and decomposes into semicarbazide, with documented genotoxicity and carcinogenicity. So even though ADA itself may break down during baking, what it leaves behind is potentially worse. The World Health Organization's 1999 review linked ADA to respiratory issues, allergies, and asthma in workers exposed to the chemical at manufacturing facilities and reported kidney damage in animal studies. The UK Health and Safety Executive identified ADA as a respiratory sensitizer and a possible cause of occupational asthma. The European Union banned ADA in food products in 2005. Australia banned it. The United Kingdom banned it. And Singapore took things to an entirely different level. In Singapore, if you put azotocarbonamide in food, you face fines of up to $450,000 and up to 15 years in prison. 15 years behind bars for putting a yoga mat chemical in bread. Chewin. America, the FDA approves it at up to 45 parts per million and considers it safe. The biggest public scandal involving ADA came in 2014, when food blogger Vani Hari exposed that Subway was using the chemical in its sandwich bread. She posted a petition that collected nearly 100,000 signatures in a matter of days. The story went viral almost overnight. Media covered it relentlessly. Subway pulled it from their recipes within a week. Then Wendy's, Starbucks, and Chick-fil-A followed under mounting public pressure. Senator Charles Schumer called for a federal ban. The Environmental Working Group investigated further and discovered that nearly 500 food products on American shelves contained ADA, including products from brands that marketed themselves as wholesome and family-friendly. Public pressure worked, at least partially. The American Bakers Association reported that 95% of its members have now removed ADA, with a full phase-out pledged by the end of 2026. But as of right now, an estimated 5% of baked goods still contain it, and Open Food Facts still lists over 700 U.S. products with ADA on their ingredient labels. That's hundreds of products still on shelves. Brands that have been identified as using ADA include Arby's buns, Burger King buns, Jimmy Dean French toast griddlers, Kroger store brand white bread and hamburger buns, Little Debbie snack products, and various regional bakery brands including Toronto, Butternut, and Country Hearth. Subway removed it back in 2014 after the public firestorm. In early 2025, the FDA announced it would revisit ADA's approval, but no timeline was given, and as of today, it hasn't been banned at the federal level. Now, if the yoga mat chemical surprised you, the #1 ingredient on this list will make you question how the FDA operates as an agency entirely. Because this one has been banned in over 40 countries, linked to cancer across decades of research, and the FDA hasn't even reviewed its safety since 1973. 1. Potassium bromide. Potassium bromide. If there's one ingredient on this list that represents everything wrong with how America regulates food safety, it's this one. Potassium bromate is a powerful oxidizing agent that's been added to flour since the early 1900s. It strengthens dough, helps bread rise higher, and gives it a whiter, more appealing appearance. It's cheap and effective, which is exactly why the baking industry fought tooth and nail to keep it in the food supply for over a century. The International Agency for Research on Cancer classified potassium bromate as a Group 2B carcinogen, possibly carcinogenic to humans, back in 1999. But the research proving its dangers goes back far beyond that. A landmark 1990 study published in Environmental Health Perspectives by Japanese researchers Kurakawa et al. Concluded that potassium bromate is a complete carcinogen, possessing both initiating and promoting activities for rat kidney tumor formation and a genotoxic carcinogen. A 1986 study in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute found that rats given potassium bromate over 104 weeks developed significantly increased rates of kidney tumors and thyroid tumors. This is not ambiguous science. These aren't borderline results. Study after study, decade after decade, the evidence pointed in the same direction. A 2023 study from Cameroon tested potassium bromate concentrations in commercially sold bread and found levels 9 to 203 times above the FDA's own permissible limit. The researchers calculated cancer hazard ratios of 190,000 to 290,000 per million consumers, and testing in the United Kingdom found measurable bromate residues in all 6 unwrapped bread loaves tested, directly contradicting the baking industry's long-standing claim that bromate fully converts to harmless bromide during baking. It doesn't always convert. Residues remain, and people eat them. The health effects documented across decades of research are severe. Kidney cancer, thyroid tumors, peritoneal mesotheliomas, DNA damage, chromosome aberrations, gut irritation, reproductive abnormalities, and kidney failure. The list of countries that have banned potassium bromate is long. The European Union banned it in 1990, the United Kingdom in 1990, Canada in 1994, Brazil in 2001, China in 2005, India in 2016, Nigeria, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, Argentina, Peru. Over 40 countries in total have looked at the evidence and said this ingredient is too dangerous for human consumption. And the FDA? The FDA last reviewed potassium bromate in 1973. That's the same year the Watergate hearings began, over 50 years ago. In the half-century since, as the scientific evidence against bromate piled up and nation after nation banned it, the FDA's position has been to urge bakers to voluntarily stop using it. Not ban it, not restrict it, urge. A polite suggestion: the Environmental Working Group identified over 200 products on American shelves still containing potassium bromate as of their most recent analysis. The major national brands like Wonder Bread and Sara Lee have largely reformulated, but potassium bromate persists in regional brands, ethnic bakery products, and store brands that fly under the radar. Golden Crust hard dough bread, Goya dough for turnover pastries, Weisskaiser rolls, Signature Select pumpernickel, rye bread sold at Albertsons and Safeway, Hormel breakfast sandwiches, Hanover baked sourdough pretzels, and dozens of smaller bakery brands still use it. California finally stepped in where the federal government refused to. In 2023, Governor Newsom signed the California Food Safety Act, banning potassium bromate effective January 1, 2027. New York, Utah, Texas, Illinois, Missouri, and Washington have all proposed or enacted similar legislation. In 2025 alone, over 140 bills across 38 states targeted food additives like bromate, an explosion from just 4 bills in 3 states 2 years earlier. The states are doing the job the FDA won't do. And here's the part that should bother you more than anything else on this list. The same multinational food companies that sell bread with potassium bromate in America already sell reformulated products without it in Europe, in the UK, in Canada, in Australia. They already know how to make bread without this ingredient. They already do it every single day for consumers in other countries. They just don't bother doing it here because the FDA doesn't make them. And until the states force their hand, they have no financial incentive to change. The replacement for potassium bromate is ascorbic acid. Vitamin C. It does the same job, it costs slightly more, and the baking industry chose to keep the carcinogen for decades rather than spend an extra fraction of a cent per loaf. And that brings us to the real issue underneath all 5 of these ingredients: the GRAS system. In 1958, the FDA created a process called Generally Recognized as Safe that allowed food companies to essentially self-certify ingredients. Many of the additives we covered today predate that system entirely and have prior approval status, meaning they were grandfathered in without ever being tested by modern toxicology standards. In September 2024, Representative Rosa DeLauro introduced the Toxic Free Food Act to overhaul the GRAS process. But until that passes, if it ever does, the system that allows these ingredients to remain in your bread was designed in 1958 and hasn't been fundamentally reformed since. So now that you know what to avoid, let's talk about what you should actually be buying instead. After everything we just covered, here's the good news. Clean bread exists, and you don't have to bake it yourself to find it. Food for Life, Ezekiel 4:9. Sprouted grain bread is widely considered the gold standard by nutritionists and health experts. The ingredient list is short and transparent. Sprouted organic wheat, filtered water, sprouted organic barley, sprouted organic millet, sprouted organic lentils, sprouted organic soybeans, sprouted organic spelt, yeast, and sea salt. No flour at all because the grains are sprouted and used whole. No preservatives, no dough conditioners, no emulsifiers, no bleaching agents, no bromate. It needs to be refrigerated or frozen because it doesn't contain chemicals to keep it shelf-stable for 3 weeks. And honestly, that's exactly what you want. Dave's Killer Bread 21, whole grains and seeds, is another excellent option. It's USDA organic, non-GMO verified, and contains no high-fructose corn syrup, no artificial preservatives, and no chemical dough conditioners. It uses organic cultured wheat flour as a natural preservative instead of synthetic chemicals. It's the #1 selling organic bread brand in America, proving that consumers will absolutely choose cleaner products when they're available and marketed properly. Silver Hills Bakery and Alvarado Street Bakery are 2 more brands worth tracking down if they're available in your area. Both use sprouted organic grains and skip the industrial additives entirely. When you're shopping, here's the simplest thing you can do. Flip the loaf over and read the ingredient list. Not the front of the package, because the front is marketing. The back is the truth. If you see potassium bromate, azotocarbonamide, BHA monoindiglycerides, or enriched bleached flour, put it back on the shelf. Look for short ingredient lists where you can recognize and pronounce every single item. A good rule of thumb is that if the ingredient list has more than 10 items, you're probably looking at a heavily processed product. Also pay attention to what the bread does over time. Real bread made with real ingredients will go stale in about 3 to 5 days. If your loaf can sit on the counter for 3 weeks and still feel soft and fresh, that's not a sign of quality. That's a sign of chemical preservation. Bread isn't supposed to last that long. The fact that it does should tell you everything you need to know about what's inside. And if your budget is tight, you don't have to buy the most expensive organic bread on the shelf. Just avoiding the 5 ingredients we covered today will already put you in a significantly better position than where you were before you watched this video. Ooch, have it. 5 toxic ingredients hiding in plain sight on your bread's ingredient label, backed by decades of research and banned across dozens of countries, plus the brands that prove bread can absolutely be made without any of them. Before your next grocery run, take 30 seconds and flip that loaf over. Read the ingredients, because the front of the package is designed to sell you something, but the back of the package tells you exactly what you're buying. If this changed how you think about the bread in your pantry, hit that like button, drop a comment telling me which ingredient shocked you the most, and share this with your family and friends because they deserve to know what they're putting on the table too. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video exposing what's really in your food. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.